What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Hands-On channel. Exciting times to be alive right now. It feels like a revitalization or a revival of the United States of America. You know, our classical, traditional United States Constitution-based ways. I mean, this is just amazing what I'm seeing here. Just a complete reversal of the last 4 years, as you guys are witnessing. So I wanted to talk to you about something today that I think kind of got overlooked yesterday or overshadowed. Trump has been doing a shotgun blast approach with his executive orders, and he's kept the media on their heels this entire time that he's been in office, 2 weeks now. So, I mean, pretty amazing. We'll get to an article here in a minute. I just want to read the headline where these news people are they don't know what to do. They can't keep up with what Trump is putting down so far. So yesterday, if you don't know, if you missed the news, if you were too busy to see it, Trump had a big meeting with Bibi Netanyahu, right? Israel's prime minister or president, whatever his title is, the leader of Israel. He was over here at the White House, and during the part of the meeting, the press conference part of the meeting, where they were actually speaking with the press, President Trump, unlike Biden, took all sorts of questions and answered them on the spot. Well, during that meeting, Trump mentioned that we're going to take Gaza, that basically the United States is going to own Gaza. So immediately, all of the media focused on that. But during that, I don't know if this was at the same time or this was another time, during that same day, Trump had signed some executive orders. And this one executive order in particular makes me extremely happy, okay? So Trump, he signed this executive order withdrawing the United States from the United Nations Human Rights Council, okay? So it's not the entire United Nations, but that part of it, the Human Rights Council. And anything we're doing to take away money, defunding them, stuff like that, just withdrawing in name is going to send a message. Of course, early on, he already withdrew from the WHO. And today I read a headline earlier that Malay where's he from? I don't remember where he's from. It's not Argentina. I can't recall. It might be Ecuador or something. I don't know. Wherever Malay is from. He's been one of the other people, the South American version of Donald Trump. He's been down there shaking things up since he took office. Well, he also withdrew from the WHO. So that's a big deal. If you take away their money is the main thing. And the United States has been supplying them with the vast majority of their money, both the WHO and the UN. So let's get more into this UN executive order that Trump signed. It said basically we're withdrawing the United States from the United Nations Human Rights Council, defunding the terror-linked United Nations Relief and Works Agency. It's a acronym UNRWA. So they're ordering a review of the U.S. involvement in the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, and a review of the U.S. ties to the United Nations generally. So guys, I mean, this is a huge freaking win for patriots. So for years and years, we've been discussing here on this channel and with all of my friends in real life too. I talk to them about this stuff because it's very concerning to me when I see these plans coming out all around the country for smart cities and smart grids. And you remember a few years ago when they put the smart meters on everyone's house without even asking permission. They just came and did it. Now I get it. They own that equipment and stuff like that, but they could have at least, ran it past you or whatever. On my house, I just came out one day. I'll tell you the truth. I was using the bathroom, number 2, and I heard a knock at the door, but I couldn't finish up in time to get there. By the time I got there, the guy was pulling out of the driveway, and I'm like, well, what the hell was that? I wonder what was going on. Why was the power guy over here? Well, it turned out he had changed out my meter. I didn't catch on to it for a day or two until I looked at it, and I was like, wait a minute, that looks different. And they put one of those smart meters on my house again without my permission, against my will. If I'd have had any say in the matter, which I probably didn't, I would have said, no, I don't want that damn thing on my house. You guys can come by and read the meter just like you've always done. But anyway, sidetrack there. But my point is that all of these things that we're seeing, the deterioration of our morals, of our values, of our American, way of life that has been eroded over the past several decades. Okay. A lot of that largely is responsible, or let's put it this way. It comes from the directive of the UN. It's not homegrown. Okay. It's not stuff that we made up here that our environmentalists got all on board with. So anyway, this is a huge deal. I personally think it's the biggest, most powerful executive order that I've seen Trump sign so far. And again, this is setting policy. This is not necessarily setting a law, but as the commander in chief, he has the right, and also the executive branch has the right to review these different treaties and organization groups that we're involved with as the United States. So once Trump digs in and sees what the UN has been doing, if he doesn't already know, I suspect he already knows. I think it's very likely that the United States pulls out of the United Nations altogether. I mean, it's possible. Let's put it that way. If nothing else, maybe we can jerk their chain a little bit and be like, look, man, we ain't doing all your smart city stuff. We're not doing 15-minute cities. We're Americans. We're free. We have highways. We have cars. We like to travel. We're not giving that up. We got oil. We got, Trump likes to say, liquid gold. We've got all that liquid gold we're fixing to tap into, or we're probably in the process of tapping into it right now as we speak. So prices should plummet because it's all directly related. If nothing else, it'll start off with your shipping rates going way down. So anyway, this is a huge win. It's a step in the right direction. He didn't totally pull the plug on the UN. That's the only thing that could have been, a little bit better than this, is that if he'd have just said we're withdrawing completely from the United Nations, but he stuck his toe in it. That's more than any other president in my lifetime has ever dared to do. I talked about this and I made a video about this several years ago. I think it might have been, I think it was after Biden took office when I made the video, but I was trying to expose communism and talk to people so they could kind of relate to what it is and how it gets you in your real life, right? And how it affects you in your daily living and things like that. And one of the rabbit holes that I opened up back then was that every single president, including Trump, have signed on to this deal with the communists, the CCP, called the One China policy. Okay. It's a big deal. It's like China making every leader of the United States kiss the ring and say, yeah, we agree to this deal. We know, we get it. Yeah, Taiwan used to be yours, and it's part of China and blah, blah, blah. We ain't going to mess with it, on and on and on. And it used to be pertain to Hong Kong as well, but I haven't heard anything about Hong Kong. I don't know if there's just a complete media blackout over there after they were taken over by the Chinese, or how that exactly went. But anyway, the point is that in this One China policy, or this plan that China makes everyone sign on to, it basically states that any land that China ever occupied or sees as theirs or whatever, they can take it back one day. That's the plan. And these American leaders have had to sign on to that. And Trump signed it the first go around. I'm kind of curious, will this new, what appears to be a much different Trump, a much more aggressive, but also much more on point. I mean, he's doing things that I never dreamed an American politician, especially the president, would ever do, much less even talk about. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm really impressed. I'm really surprised, to be honest. I mean, I voted for Trump. I'm a Trump supporter to a degree. There's been some things in the past, some missteps with the COVID, some times where he should have seized control, like when the 2020 riots were going on. I'm not saying he should have sent out the military necessarily, but they could have sent out National Guard and, to help, knock down and quell those riots and things that were going on. The times when they were blocking state highways and federal highways and stuff like that to do their so-called protests. That's not going to end well, especially if you start attacking people. And I was just reading earlier that the libs are already, or right now, 12 days in, whatever it is, 14 days in, they're planning protests all around the country in every major city, especially the ones they control. So things are going to get really interesting really quick, I'm afraid, because they're not going to take this laying down. No one expects them to. They're going to eventually fight back. I think I said that in my last video. Trying to get around the camera here so I could click back. But yeah, after Trump said that about Gaza, and he had Bibi Netanyahu out there basically praising everything Trump was saying, Bibi, being a politician, being a statesman, Bibi's not going to come over here and talk crap about Biden. But he did everything up to that point. He said everything he could to indicate that things were much better under Trump's first term, and he expects they're going to be better under Trump's second term, and that the relationship with Israel has never been better. So that's all good news, because they're I would say, our number one ally, especially in that area, in the Middle East. So what do I think of Trump's plan to have America either occupy? I don't know exactly what his full plan is. I don't think he necessarily does either. But I think Trump sees everything as a negotiation, as a potential for a negotiation, to open up negotiations. So this may not even be the end goal with him. He may just be saying this extreme thing that sounds extreme to everyone because, again, he was first talking about the Panama Canal. I haven't said anything about that, but I mean, I'm telling you, Jimmy Carter screwed the United States of America by giving them the Panama Canal for $1. Okay. He made them pay $1 just so it was an official sale. Complete BS. Should have never happened. The United States should have maintained control. And for years and years and years, the Chinese, the CCP, have been occupying more and more and more and putting up their own signs and things like that and taking down the American signs. And I mean, even to the point where I remember watching that show, there's like a military installation over there. They used to do training and different things. Our government had this installation that we built with taxpayer dollars, I would imagine. In this organization, again, they did training and different things like that were, probably more regional specific type deals. Maybe because it's close to the ocean, they might have had a lot of Navy and, different things like that, right? They probably brought admirals in there for different levels of training. There was some sort of a United States military training facility, and it had nice buildings all over the place. Well, now guess who occupies those buildings? The Chinese. Okay. So we have allowed Panama to back out on their deal, just like Trump said. They're going to have to honor the deal. We get priority because we built the damn thing. So, guys, these are exciting times. So yeah, the Panama Canal was a bad deal for the United States once Jimmy Carter did what he did. I'm going to have to get my anti-communist glasses on here because the print's kind of small on this one, but I want you to hear this. Establishment media anguish over Trump's sledgehammer approach. Simply can't cover everything. And I read the article. One of the reporters was complaining and whining and saying that, Trump is just doing so much that we can't possibly even keep up with it. And everything he's doing is illegal. It's just unreal. Bondi orders DOJ to pause federal funding to sanctuary cities. So that's another win. You cut these people off at the finances. It's easy to do. Trump's freeze of U.S. aid funds for foreign media, triggering globalist outrage. Okay, so this USAID, and I hate to even call it U.S. aid because it has nothing to do with the United States aid internally. Okay, it's basically a CIA / mainstream media. It's sort of like it strikes me that it's like a money laundering operation for the CIA and the mainstream Mockingbird media. And they are one and the same. Don't forget that. Mockingbird media, just because we found out about it, doesn't mean they stopped doing it. They just changed the damn name to something else, and they still do the exact stuff. You know, I had my doubts about Marco Rubio. I never really liked him in the past because he came out at one point pro-amnesty, and I'll never forget that kind of stuff. But now Rubio seems to be doing, and you know, I hate to say it, but marching in lockstep with Trump's agenda. Rubio wins a big migrant deportation deal with Guatemala. So China is defending Hamas, and they condemn Trump's Gaza takeover proposal. Of course they do. They don't want the United States taking any more land or putting military facilities up in any of these other places that are any closer to them. So of course they don't want that. But that's exactly why we need it. You know, meanwhile, you know, back to Panama for a second. We're going to be jumping around a bit on this, but, you know, China for years and years have been buying up all of the rare earth minerals around the world, okay, with the Belts and Roads Initiative. And they're going around and getting countries to sign on, and they're building them roads, and they're, you know, they're doing all sorts of stuff that appear to be for the country that they're building these, but they're not for them. They're for the Chinese, so they can get the rare earth minerals in and out of there easier. Okay. And Panama was one of those places, the Panama Canal and all that stuff. Panama was basically allowing China to come in and do the Belts and Roads Initiative there in their country. Well, after Trump came down there and started laying the law down, they said, hey, we're pulling out of that now. So again, the globalists are losing power because Trump, okay? And I said it before, and people criticized me, some people. You know, Trump is about the most anti-globalist president I've ever seen, okay? All the rest of them have signed on to it, including George Bush Jr., George Bush Sr., even Ronald Reagan to a degree. He signed in. You know, I still love Reagan, and I think he did a lot of great stuff. But he fell for a lot of the Democrat traps of like, I don't know. Hey, Ronald Reagan, if you sign this deal, this amnesty deal, and you let a certain amount of people in, that's all that it'll ever be. It won't ever get any bigger. And he said, okay, let's do that. That sounds like the right thing to do. And of course, what did they do? It created the immigration problem that we face today, still today. So these things have long-lasting repercussions. I don't think Ronald Reagan was a bad guy. I think he was fooled. Maybe it was when he was older and he was more easily, you know, manipulated or whatever. But, you know, Trump's not a spring chicken either, but he's still got it together. You can tell. I mean, my God, the amount of press conferences that Trump has had in the first 2 weeks, and just questions to the press and actually answering them versus turning on his heel and walking away or saying, I'm not allowed to say that because my handlers basically said I can't speak anymore to the media. That was the leader of the free world a month ago. What a difference. It's like someone turned the light on and now we can see all the bad stuff. All the cockroaches are scattering. And they're trying to, I wanted to mention this. Someone today, some crazy wacko Democrat that was walking around shaking his cane and stuff in front of Chuck Schumer when Chuck Schumer was out there trying to have a rally against Trump. Some wacko Democrat is calling for Trump's impeachment already. So, you know, the mainstream media is also melting down about Elon Musk. They hate Elon Musk with a purple passion. They're selling their Teslas that, you know, they're trying to say Tesla stock is going down. Anytime they can say anything bad about Musk, they're doing it because he's aligned himself with Trump. And so, you know, we'll see how that plays out for him. The guy's a pretty smart, pretty savvy businessman, but I'm sure it's got to be hurting his bottom dollar because a lot of these people refuse to buy Teslas now. But you know, they're melting down. The media's melting down. They say, if you want to know what the main lamestream media is saying, go over to the Drudge Report because it's no longer a conservative outfit. They're an anti-Trump, never-Trumper outfit. So anything that the Drudge Report can say that throws shade or, you know, whatever onto Trump or his family or anything like that, they do it. So they're saying state media, top of the headline, state media, ? A Trump gets a show on Fox, the MAGA Hour. So now they're saying, because, one of Trump's relatives, I don't know if it's Laura Trump or who that is, I don't know them all. They're trying to say that, it's somehow underhanded or dirty, when meanwhile, the leftists have controlled the media since Operation Mockingbird. And also, I might repeat, Operation Mockingbird never ended. It's like they think that we don't remember this stuff. They think we don't know what they did. I want you to hear this one. CIA offers buyouts to entire workforce. I hope they all take it. I think it's become one of the most un-American, anti-American, anti-freedom, anti-liberty, anti-private property, privacy operations that's ever existed on the face of God's green earth. Let's throw the NSA in there with them as well. If you want to spy on foreigners that are up to no good, or maybe people that are visiting here in the United States, that's one thing. But spying on every single American is way over the line. We're supposed to self-govern. We're supposed to have liberty. The Constitution, it wasn't written for us. It's restrictions against the people that hold office, against the federal government. It's the rules that they must abide by, the supreme law of the land. But many of them don't like to abide by that. And that's why they're getting all butthurt all the time right now. So, they're worried about Doge getting a plug-in to air traffic control. So it's stupid. They're all trying to say that Musk sucks, Trump sucks. The things that are happening right now are terrible for the country. They're trying to call Trump a king or a dictator or something like this. He hasn't done anything like that. He's done no more or no less than Biden did or than Obama did. They just don't like the direction that things are going. So, there was a couple of more I wanted to get to here, but it's mainly just on Drudge Report. It's mainly just Trump hate. They're showing a picture of Susie Wiles. She has a stunned face as Trump announces Gaza takeover plan. Well, maybe it wasn't a stunned face. Maybe she was just paying attention. We all get like that sometimes, where we're like zoning out or whatever. We make a weird face. Maybe the face doesn't mean a damn thing, but the mainstream media is trying to make it into something. Okay. They say the Saudis reject the deal. Yeah, they might reject the deal publicly when they're not talking to Trump. But when they're talking to Trump, they're probably going to be like, oh, yeah, we'll take that deal. If these people don't understand by now that the Saudis have for many years portrayed two different faces, one to the people that they're talking to and one to the diplomats and the people in charge of the United States government. Oh, so they're saying that the White House is trying to walk it back. I don't think so. The more they push on this anti-Gaza takeover, and let's just explore that for a minute or two at the end of the video here. Is that a bad idea? Are any of the ideas that Trump has put forth about that might seem imperialistic on the surface? Maybe they are imperialistic. We're increasing the control and size of our empire, if you want to call it that. Although we haven't acted like an empire in a very, very long time. You could argue that things like the Louisiana Purchase and the Western expansion and things like that were empirical in their nature, or the taking of Texas, any of these things. And perhaps they were, but I would argue that if we hadn't have done it, someone else would have done it. In fact, someone else had already done it. The Spaniards came in, the French came in, all sorts of countries were interested in this piece of land here we call the United States of America. And should we take Greenland? I don't know. Probably we should. Probably we should take it like we have Puerto Rico. We shouldn't make them a state, but we should bring them under the umbrella, under the protection of the United States, with certain guarantees that we will have access, pretty much unlimited access, to their rare earth minerals, because that's the future, guys. And China controls that. So I think what Trump is trying to do is equalize or level the playing field so that the United States will have a fighting chance for the future, so that his grandkids, your grandkids, everyone's grandkids will be able to thrive in the future. And if he pulls off a deal like that, that everyone said was impossible, that again just further enshrines him in the history books as perhaps, I'm going to go out on a limb here because it's still really early, Trump could do a complete 180 and start doing all the wrong things, okay? But at this point, 2 weeks in, I'm going to take a big risk here and say that for sure in my lifetime, Trump may be the greatest American president. He may be able to undo 50, 100 years worth of communist subversion. I mean, things that have just been designed. They have used our own law against us, our own constitution against us multiple times over the years. And we've just allowed it to happen. We've said, come on in, screw us over. Well, it seems like that is over now. And again, they're already trying to impeach him. So maybe we do need a foothold in the Middle East. Maybe we need a place down there where we can have a military base and we can maximize, think about it. What if we turned Gaza into the next Abu Dhabi or something even better than the United Arab Emirates or whatever, and people from all over the world went there and vacationed there, and maybe there's casinos and big hotels with Trump's name on. Who knows? I know no liberals are still tuned in, but I thought if there were any, that might trigger them on the way out. But anyway, guys, I'm really happy about what I'm seeing. I can't believe the breakneck speed. The media can't believe it either. That's why they're just standing there going, what do we do? They don't even know how to respond to this. They've never seen anything like it. It really is. It's a revitalization of the United States of America, and I'm all for it. Let's get it. Let's get it done. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, I stand for liberty to the bitter end. I hope you do too.